Hey, welcome back to Build a Basement part 2 of our Voron mini afterburner. So let's jump right into it. So here we go, Voron mini afterburner. So where we left off, we were just kind of figuring out and finishing up some final assembly. I did a little bit more tweaking on there, and yeah, it's kind of where we're at. So let's scroll down. Direct feed extruder part-time. It says turn the gear. That's where we left off. Turn the gear. Check if there's any binding or snags. Assemble the tool head. Inspect if required. Now, I did find things got a little bit harder to turn once I did latch everything. I've determined that it's just the gears. They're not really binding up. They are meshing, but I think there's some wear that needs to happen over time. The odd part is that when I do insert filament into the drive, that binding seems to go away. So there's that. All right, so check for clearance. The drive shaft must not exceed past the printed body as we rub on the motor. So it does not on mine. Looking right here. Mine's actually recessed pretty decently. It's nowhere near going by, but what they're talking about is right here, because your motor's going to be sitting right here. It cannot go beyond your plastic. So mine does not, yours should not either. All right, so we have that, and sand face shaft required. We do not need to do that. Direct feed extruder. All right, 2 top screws, partial disassembly. Remove the 2 screws, loosen up the top screws, remove the back plate. All right, so partial disassembly. So all we're going to do really is loosen up these, get the right screwdriver first of all. We're going to loosen these 2 up just enough so that they disengage from the back plate, this thing right here. And we're just going to give this a little wiggle and a jiggle. Something like that. And pull that out. And then what's next? Print head. All right, so looks like we're mounting this to the V0. So let's drag that over. Let's do this. Camera, boom. Yep. All right, pull that over here, put these beds over there, and these screws bed over here. So that's gonna sit like that. Just trying to arrange myself here, make a little room for what we gotta do next. So in a previous video, I was mounting this, let's get in here, this guy right here, this, hard to see, but that little switch down there, that stop switch, it completely fell apart on me when I was trying to put it in. It has been replaced. I replaced it with a switch I had already in my stock, and now we are good. Yeah, if I can get these not to fall in there. Perfect. I'm actually gonna cut these loose now that we actually have a back on this thing. Be down like that. So clicking is good. Click that way. Click that way. And then if I want to bring it to bed, I get my click that way too. These things are definitely more quiet than my stock one, but nonetheless, enough fun with that. All right, let me see if I can get a good angle on this for everybody to see. Speaking of which, previous video, I'd done that, and now they have all bled out. I guess that's a good thing, right? All right, let's see if I can get this camera someplace where it makes sense. Let's see how that looks. I think that'll work. What do you think? course you think it'll work. What are you gonna say about it, right? I guess you can leave me a comment. All right, so we need two M2s by 10s, M2s, 2 by 6, and 3 by 12, M2s. All right, M2 by 10s, 3 by 16. Nope. Where would I be if I was M2 by 10? M3, M3, M2 by 6, M3, 3. So M3s are pretty popular. M3 by 30, M3 by 35. That is there. A mess here, but not too bad. Let's see, we don't have them here. Where are they? Oh! Nope, M2 by 6. M2.5, 2 by 8. In somewheres. 2.5 by 6. I don't see any M2 by 10. Oh, self tappers. Man, I am dumb. See, I should do more live streams so people could yell at me when I do stupid things like that. Yeah. All right, so to these guys. Oh, it's been a long day. All right, so how is that going? So this is going to go something like this. Okay, I see that's going right through like that. A lot of plastic to plastic, non-tap, like just plastic to plastic, screwing the plastic on this printer. Kind of surprised. Definitely don't see much of that on the Voron 2.4. I'm sure this has been well vetted and it will stand the test of time, but these do seem like additional failure points to me. It wouldn't be too difficult to design this with heat certs, but we ain't got none. Well, we got some. We ain't use them. So tighten that down. I guess on the plus side, don't need a ThreadLocker, right? All right, so we don't want that too tight, but we don't want loose either. So pull this forward for us. Just take a look at it all the way around. Make sure it looks okay. We'll make sure it's tight enough, but not too tight. Okay. There we go. All right, so that guy is on there. And now they want us to put everything back together. Cool. Again. So before I do that, I'm going to note this real quick. When I was looking for my bag of M2 by 10 screws that wound up being self-tappers, and somebody kind of hit me with the stupid stick, I found these. These are shouldered screws that came with the kit. So I'm going to quickly swap these. Getting back here. Revo, go away, buddy. I'm going to quickly swap these out. So a lot of time these are hard to come by, but I have them. They're in this kit, so there's no reason not to use them. So I'm going to use them. All right. So that being said, this one one's coming out first. And I'll put this one in. Okay. And then number 2. In. One thing to note, these are button head screws and these are not. And I don't remember what is called for on these, but I'm assuming this won't matter much. So that one in, and that leaves us with this one. Trying not to allow anything to really move much while I'm doing this. There we go. And then the last one, not least, we got this guy over here, just hanging out. All right. Cool. All right. Back to this camera right here. Actually, before we do that, go back up to the screen and we'll look real quick here. What we wound up having is torn apart, and now we're putting this back together. It says tighten screws, secure the print head to the X carriage by fastening the highlighted screws. So I guess in the end of all this, this is pretty much just getting fastened to the carriage by way of the 2 self-tapping screws, which is again kind of odd, but what do I know? Before we do that, I think we have to go back in here right now and trim these off a little bit. Trim these back. We left them as long as we could. No real huge reason for that other than could. I'm not worried about cutting these short, and the reason why I'm not worried about cutting these short is because over time the belts are going to elongate, which means we're going to have more belt to play with. We're going to take up most of that with our tensioners that are on the back of this printer. These guys back here, but for now I think we're good, so I'm not going to worry about it. We're just going to keep moving forward. All right, so we are going to mount, we're going to attempt to mount this back onto that. So what we have are the 2, I don't know, these wires are getting routed. Feeling kind of weird about this. I guess it's not that big of a deal. We have the 2 up top here. We have this guy right here, and then these longer ones going into there. So they are passing through into the actual X carriage by way of those 3 additional. So that's what we're going to attempt to do right now. Attempt to put this thing together. It's kind of what we've been doing for a while now. So let's see if we can line these up. Kind of, sorta. And I'm gonna try to get, first things first is get that bearing kind of lined up, and that's going to hold everything kind of into place. At least I think it should. I think I'm right about where I want to be. So okay, let's go ahead and start tightening this thing up. Remember these top ones right here, we don't want to over tighten them because they're movement. And then these guys over here. All right, I don't feel like I'm catching anything with that one. This one. One feels good. This one feels good. But why isn't this one catching? All right, so let's figure that out. Could be it's just slightly too far out. No, let me see. Get my finger behind here. Nope, just doesn't seem to be catching. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen these back up. Move this around so my arm's not in the way. That one, that one, that one, and hold me. What is holding me? Still kind of grabbing. Yeah. All right. A couple of these guys are still barely holding on. All right. So why, oh why, wasn't this guy getting anything? Great. Cool for the job here. All right, so this is definitely grabbing. Is it function of the fact that it's not making it far enough? So it's going just as far as the other ones. All right, so what I'm going to do, this is gonna be the trick. First of all, I'm gonna get these wires down, make sure they're not messing with me at all. Just kind of try this out first type of thing here. So I know I need my bearing to get in there, so that's going to be kind of our have to. So that's in there. But the first screw I'm going to try is this one right here. See if it has something to do with just. Yep. So now that I have that one, I'm going to move my way back to the other ones. So what sometimes happens is, I mean, these are printed parts. They're printed pretty well. I printed them on my other Voron. But sometimes things are just slightly off, or, you know, heck, it could be something purchased that's slightly off, or the screw's just, you know, one thread off in length or something weird. So went back and I tried successfully, and that was the first screw I tried, and I did that knowing that if I could get that one in, I could probably get the other ones in just fine, but that was the one I couldn't get in, so let's do that one first. So that worked. So we have that works. All right, cool. All right. Fasten screws. We did that. Stepper motor, M3x8 button head screws. All right, so our stepper motor, it's a little pancake type motor. If you're not familiar what a pancake type motor is, it is a flat-ish motor. I'm honestly not 100% sure why they call it pancake. It looks more like a hamburger, especially since it has two buns and some meat in the middle. Some magnetic meat, but it's a pancake motor. It is thinner. They usually have slightly less power than other steppers, but they do tend to weigh less, and they get into some areas that you just couldn't get into with other steppers. So two reasons why it's being used on this one, being simply because we need a small stepper, we don't need a big one, and two, because we want something light. We don't need a very heavy stepper motor when it comes to this. So add those two things up and there you go. All right, so we got to mount that on there, and we're going to need two M3x8s. I'm going to go back to this camera view. I think it's working out for us. I'm going to grab two M3x8s. All right, and we're going to figure out how this is supposed to go, because right now, as it stands, kind of have a little problem. I have these little wires in the way. I'm gonna bend them. You know what I'm going to do? I hate that little pin that we have there. We're not using that middle pin. There's no sense in having it there. So I'm gonna snip it right off. So snip that off. Bend these around. Get rid of that piece of metal. And now it's stuck in there. It's not ferrous. So that way, tweezers it is, and boom, it sprung off to somewhere else. All right, so I would like to put it on like this and keep those wires down low, but I don't know if I have enough room. It looks like I do. It really does. I go like this. Like this. I don't like having the wires come off the top like that. It's not that big of a deal though. Man, I wish. It seems like I hate that. I don't like pinching those wires down either at the same time. How much room do I have down there in actuality? Just put it this way. Oh yeah, I got no room. All right, so wire's gonna wind up. It is what it is. I'll deal with it. I'm fine with it. I'll make peace with it. I don't like it. All right, so release this clasp here, and this is actually getting screwed from the front. And we're gonna drop a bunch of screws now because I'm working doubly backwards. So put a screw in like this and hold it while I do this. There we go. Get that one started. Okay, and then get the second one. This one's gonna be a little bit more tricky. Could unscrew that spring load, which I might have to do, but I might not. So looks like I can do it without taking that off. So that's a plus, right? All right. Pretty tight here. Yeah, it's not a situation where we have metal screws going into metal motor mounts on the backside through plastic. So we're only gonna make those so tight because, again, plastic will lose against metal every single time. All right. Yeah, they show actually right here, if you look close, for once, they actually show wires. So the wires are facing up on theirs as well, so it is what it is. It's the way it was planned. All right, so now we're putting on this back piece. It's kind of different looking. M3x6s for that. Two of those guys. And we're back to using our spacer thingies that we printed and that I mangled, but I think they're going to be usable. I think the sole purpose for this is pretty minuscule, so I'm gonna go ahead and use my half mangled pieces that that melted a little bit too far. So what's gonna happen here is we're gonna back out these screws a little bit because not only are we're going to back these out till these are flush right here on both sides, because these screws are also going to hold these guys on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw this on first. And I'm actually going to turn this piece, another one. So I'm just going to get started, get it pretty tight. That. So I know that's tight. I'm going to just see if I can get an extra turn on them this way. Somebody's probably going to yell at me for doing this, but I'm doing it anyways. I'm not going to get any more out of it anyways. Is what it is. Alright, perfect. So those are on there like that. And then this has a nub on one side and it's flush on the other. Flush side is going to be facing us. So we're looking like this. Nub side facing towards the wiring. And screws are falling. Yep. All right, so try that again. There we go. And then number 2. Put it on right here. That's not lining up just right, and it probably has to do with what I did, but there we go. All right, that is on there as well. All right, where does that leave us off? That leaves us off with cable management. There are loops for zip ties either side of the X carriage, string relief on the top. So they call them the little nub on top of string relief, and I do see the cable tie. I do see this right here as well. So we're gonna have to route all the wires here eventually. Whoa, there we go. On to the wiring. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, if you made it this far, or you know what, if you skipped ahead to here, hit that like button. Do me a favor. Subscribe if you haven't already. Please subscribe, all right? I need some subscribers. So we're going to continue on this Voron printer. In the next video, we're going to start some wiring. That's when things get a little bit tricky, but really exciting, because that means we're around the corner to get this thing all finished. So I'll see you next time.